Hi everyone, Justin here from Spec VIP Protection Group. Today I want to talk about a project that we've got going on that I think is super beneficial to a lot of people in close protection and VIP operations. So a while back, you might know we started the VIP Local Asset Network, and then probably about 8 months ago, we ran a beta test for this close protection development group, and now for about the last 5 months, we've been running the close protection development group through the VIP Local Asset platform. So the way it works is once a month, I create a topic that's useful and valuable to the close protection world. Build a presentation on it, record a presentation, and then I post it to the close protection development group through the VIP Local Asset Network. Then, shortly after the video has been posted, we get together as a group of professionals via virtual means, via the platform, and discuss the topic. And then after the discussion is over on that specific topic, we open the floor up to any other conversations people want to have, any other questions. So we've been doing this behind the scenes through the VIP Local Asset Network with a small group of close protection professionals from around the world through the Close Protection Development Group. And we just completed our monthly meeting. This month's topic was on winter close protection operations, and it was a smaller group than we normally have, which is what makes this possible, because I got permission from the individuals involved, and we all agreed that the information that was being shared needed to get out there, so that it could benefit others. So what we've done is I've taken the recording from the meeting, and it's going to go up right away on the Close Protection Development Group page on the VIP Local Asset Network for all the members to observe. But because it was a small group and because we were able to get some permission from the individuals involved, we're able to share this meeting for you as a sample of what goes on in the Close Protection Development Group. One of the things that's challenging in this industry is doing great work and then being able to tell people about it. So we thought this was a really good opportunity to show you what we're doing behind the scenes, and for you to get an example of how it might benefit you. So in a moment, I'm going to go to the meeting, and you'll be able to see the topic and see the way it flows, and be able to take your own points from the discussion. And this one's a really good example of most of the meetings that we do, because it shows the value of close protection. It shows the depth of knowledge that's required. So we have a significant discussion around the monthly topic, this month being winter operations, but we also have a bunch of lateral topics and layers that blend in with the close protection operations. Some of it is around career or business success. Some of it is around other like-minded operations or connected operations. So when you're watching this video, or if you're listening to it, it is a little bit lengthy. It's not the type of stuff you're going to normally see on social media. The actual meeting itself is about an hour and 20 minutes. And but you're going to get a really good example of what we talk about, and a bunch of ways that the direct topic can benefit you, but you're going to get a whole bunch of other indirect value from it. And what's great about the way we're doing this through the platform with a group of professionals is that there's some indirect benefits that are going to come from sharing their knowledge. So I was fortunate in this presentation to have Derek and Justice, two very active members of the group, share their insights and have some open discussions around the topic. And just by default, the two of them are going to get some really good professional exposure because of this. And that happens every month to everybody in the group that participates. So big thank you to Derek and Justice for participating in this discussion, and also for giving me permission to share this with the world, so that you can benefit from the direct and indirect lessons that are in there, and potentially consider joining the VIP Local Asset Network, and participating in the Close Protection Development Group. So without further ado, I'm going to queue up the meeting. Just before I do, really quick point. We focus in this group, and pretty much everything I do is we like to let the information and the content be the hero. So what you might see is not going to be necessarily the same production value of some of the more commercialized programs out there. This is a meeting that takes place once a month via virtual means, via the technology available to us. The audio comes out pretty good. Some of the lighting in the videos or in people's locations where they're participating in the meeting might not be the greatest, or might not be TV related production value, but focus on the content, because everything we're doing is about focusing on individuals' operational success and career success. And if we put too much time and effort into production value and stuff like this, we would lose a lot of the focus. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll learn something from it, and I hope you consider joining the group, because I want you to have the same successes we're experiencing, and be able to enhance your operational capability as well. So look forward to seeing you out there in the world and on the platform and via social media. And by all means, please feel free to send me any comments or feedback you have, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. The topics selected for the Close Protection Group are a mix of things that I see going on in the community and around the world that affect the industry, or come directly from members of our group that have specific stuff on their mind. And then once again, put together a pre-recorded training video, and then we get together once a month and discuss it. So the individuals all in this group have seen the pre-recorded video. Unfortunately, I'm not including the pre-recorded training content as part of this. If you want to see that, then you're going to have to join and become a member. But if you don't want to join, or you're not able to right now, then you'll still get some really good value out of this meeting. And yeah. So without further ado, I am going to queue up the meeting, and you'll get to see behind the scenes of the Close Protection Development Group as we talk about winter close protection operations, and then any other things that are connected. Stick around to the end because we do open up to a bit of a general discussion on some other things that are really useful right now, some other tools that are being really valuable in the close protection development world. Thanks very much. Now for the meeting. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Close Protection Development Group meeting. This one we're going to talk about winter operations for close protection. Hopefully everybody had a chance to watch the video. I know you guys did, so that's good. A couple things I'll reinforce, as we usually do. So again, this conversation is being recorded, so other people can listen to it that aren't able to attend. So don't say anything confidential or anything you can't take back. But if you do say something you can't take back, we'll post this for 30 days and then we'll take it down. So the topic was close protection winter operations. We went through a whole bunch of different things. We talked about the threat environment for the winter. We talked about some equipment and things like that. We talked about some ways that individuals can market themselves, or organizations can market themselves. I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from the presentation, is for those of us that work and live in predominantly winter communities. We often take for granted the skills we have and how we can market those. And how beneficial they are to people that aren't from here. But we also might take for granted the fundamentals and the things, that we just do, or we haven't put emphasis on. And even little things like when we talked about equipment, I know myself, I have, roadside emergency kit in my personal vehicle. All the close protection teams I worked on, that was something we focused on. And but how often do individuals and teams at the beginning of the winter look at that equipment, test it, check it, make sure it works properly, make sure it's good to go? And sometimes it's just set it and forget it, which isn't a very good plan until you need it, because when you do need it, it often doesn't work. So I know we're doing this presentation in the middle of January. That was actually kind of by design, so that everybody would be in the middle of winter and be thinking about it and potentially have some experiences that were recent and current that could connect with the conversation. When I do presentations like this for the military, we often look at doing our winter training before the winter. We'll do some pre-training about dress, environmental illnesses, hypothermia, frostbite, dehydration, all that stuff. And we will also actually get out the vehicles, go through all the equipment, go through the how to put on chains on the tires. If you've never done that before, you need to do that, and figure out how that's done, right? And then practice it, because that's one of the things, when people call the military, especially in the winter, it's usually a bad time, and we're coming in to help people, with an ice storm or something along those lines. We can't be wasting time figuring stuff out. And in close protection, that's the same thing, right? We are, in case of emergency, break glass. And if that emergency is the vehicle is stuck on the side of the road, the vehicle breaks down, the vehicle gets in a collision, or what have you. I think most of our concerns in the close protection world relating to winter happen to do with vehicles, especially in an urban environment or a transport environment. But then they also, are significantly important when we start getting into winter adventure activities, skiing, snowmobiling. I don't know how many times a year we see on the news people die because of snowmobiling accidents, people being decapitated, going through barbed wire fences, or people out backcountry skiing, and an avalanche comes in and takes them out, and all of a sudden, people are dealing with trauma. So as close protection professionals, we have to think ahead of those things. We have to try and avoid them wherever possible. And then when they do happen, we have to be able to manage them and then mitigate the impact. So I don't know, maybe I'll open it up to the floor to see how everybody felt about the presentation, what your key takeaways, anything you want to talk about, or any questions you guys have. So
Mr. Osei, why don't you start, bud?
Yeah, no, I think it was really informative, right? And it gave us some considerations for just not about the job itself, but about prepping for the job and getting the right tools for the environment. So getting into the right conditions, with your client. Not only do you have to prep your own gear and get all that stuff kind of put together, but you then have to think about the client and their level of knowledge in the winter climate. Are they from here? Are they not from here? That sort of thing. So it got me going, and I was like, okay, well, like, how much do I really know about winter operations being Canadian, right? But living in Vancouver, I mean, yes, from East Coast over here, I left all my winter stuff back home, right? So it's like, I'm really looking at it, and I have maybe a briefcase full of snowshoes and snow gear, but like it's not really diversified. And so I'm like, okay, well, going back to my last operation, I had to get one of the guys that were living in the mountains and that did have all that gear and stuff. So it was a little bit more causes you to think a little bit more about your planning stages of the mission. So
For me, I loved it. Ironically, because next weekend I'm actually going on a daddy-daughter date to Jasper, so I'll be going skiing, and first runs of the year. So maybe I'll just stick with single black diamond, not the double. But but I say that because, see, having Justin do that for us reminded me of the typical vehicles that I've worked with some of my high net worth clients, and the different SUVs we've had, the Suburbans, the Escalades, the main three, if you will. And it reminded me of something as simple as when I was in the States with a family, and I had one of the main VIP children in the back, and I will not say which vehicle it was, but it was an SUV, out of respect for the company. But clutter, it's hot and sunny, it's a summer day, but it, the client saying, what's that sound, Derek? And I'm like, I don't know. And basically the engine died, and that was probably plus 30 weather. And I'm taking him to a meeting, and I'm like, not panicking. It's just, I immediately call my team lead and say, we need a vehicle down the road here to come get him, take him to where he needs to be, and I'll stay with the vehicle. And I was with that vehicle all day. But the point is, what if that was minus 30 right now in Edmonton? It's minus 30, minus 39 at night with the wind chill. It's, from what I understand, it's the coldest winter on record, and not just in Edmonton. This is Canada, and now down east. Justice, you talked about down east. It can hit anywhere, anytime in Canada. It's brutal. What if that would have happened? If that was Edmonton, what would have happened if the vehicle died? Because that can very well happen. The batteries die. If they're not plugged in, you got to plug in the vehicles. Even sometimes if it's in the garage can be like ice cubes in a freezer. And that goes back to the tools in the toolbox. So whether you want to call it the football or the go bag,
Mhm.
I love what Justin said about something as simple as the AED. If the battery dies in the AED, sound's going to blare, and it
Right.
won't work. And what happens if you need it on any given day? One thing I realized thinking now, booster cables, I don't think was mentioned, but it's irrelevant because it's just another tool that we common sense would know to have. But something that's all the different tools that we use, again, we take for granted because they're either in our vehicle, or when summer was winding down and it is, starting to get September, we can get snow in September or October. The point is, you're already gathering those things, cleaning out the vehicles, even our own personal ones, and putting those booster cables in, and the extra blanket and the extra gloves, and the list goes on. But just thinking back to some of the operations I was on, and with winter, thank goodness most of the vehicles that I've driven are the large SUVs, and the very good winter tires, excellent heating, and making the vehicle comfortable for the clients. I have traveled to the mountains with some families, and storms. An example, Justice, you live in Vancouver, so if someone was going to Big White or Whistler, Silver Summit, I think, is another one. I've been to all of those mountains and I love them. But to go to BC, you need a certain rated tire. You're not even allowed to go. You'd get pulled over by the RCMP or whatnot, and turned back or fined heavily because of the safety of the highways. Lots of blizzards, avalanche. So you got to be prepared for all of that. Shovels to dig yourself out if avalanche comes, because it can push the vehicles towards cliffs. Not to scare everyone, but for me personally, it just woke me up to say, okay, I'm actually launching next weekend on a personal trip. However, it'll be almost like a recce. I plan to stop by Jasper Park Lodge, see what that vicinity looks like. I'm almost going to do an advance just to see, because there's been tons and tons of snow. So it was just really, I hate winter, but I love skiing, and I try to do that as much as I can. And why I keep bringing that up is, any chance we get to do advances to see what the road conditions are like right now, any avalanche concerns around Marmot or Sunshine or Lake Louise, etc. It's huge to know. So It was just a perfect timing, and yeah, it was planned for winter, but when it comes to operations, just doing that massive checklist of making sure for your own personal safety, let alone the operation you might be on or the family or the client you might be working with, make sure that everything's in place and a backup plan, maybe a backup vehicle or a trailing vehicle. Speed dial, someone on speed dial to, as I said, I got caught in the summertime with a broken down vehicle, but if there was a high risk for anything, that could have been um, a challenging scenario. And if that was wintertime on the side of a highway, what happens if no cell phone service? So you have to be prepared. And it was wonderful to be awoken to the possibilities of what could happen. And that's all we're doing is advancing our own pre-advance and making sure we're set and good to go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad you mentioned all that stuff because yeah, I didn't get into the what's required in a in the back of a vehicle, but definitely booster cables are one of them. I mean, I don't know how many times I've driven by people getting their vehicles boosted, my neighbors getting their vehicles boosted at work, seeing people getting their vehicles boosted, and little things like plugging the vehicle in, and those are all the little details that when we talk about like the importance of attention to detail in this industry, those are the details that we have to focus on, because if you miss one of them, if you don't plug the vehicle in and it sits outside overnight for 12 hours and then it doesn't start and you're not able to go pick up the VIP afterwards, well, that's an impact, right? And all because you forgot something, or you didn't think about something, or you didn't check it to make sure that it was actually plugged in. I mean, how many times do those plugins get frozen up and you don't connect them all the way? And so we just got to focus on those aspects of the operation. And those of us that live in it, sometimes we take for granted. And I might have been a little bit cheeky in the video, giving Vancouver a hard time about their lack of winter. Some of it's true, but you guys also did have the Winter Olympics there in 2010.
Yes.
So so you do get enough winter. You get outside the city a little bit, and yeah, you got Whistler and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of winter that happens in BC. And Derek, I'm glad you mentioned the thing about the roads, because I actually forgot about that. That if you were driving from Alberta to BC, or a bunch of different places in BC particularly, or in the mountains, there's highways that you can't go if you don't have winter tires or chains, and you have to pull over and prove it sometimes, right? And
it's not just the M&S, it's not just the M+S tires, it's a special rating, the way the grooves are in the tires, and chains, and that's your day-to-day vehicle. That's not even SUVs, that's cars and stuff too. So that's going to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Justice, but that's something that would be common for people that are going to travel to certain places. They're going to have those chains in their trunk, right? Yeah. So and knowing how to use them. I'm not from BC, and at this point in time I've never had to put chains on. I've put chains on my quads just for a little extra grip, right? But vehicles I haven't, so that would be important to do. Again, there must be an AMA course that someone could take. I'm going to look into that. Is there some kind of course to take on those winter precautions, and then do it?
Well, and not all chains are created equal, right? Like
Right.
there's the training for it is a lot of it's going to be based on the model. And like I know Canadian Tire sells some decent ones, and I've used them in the past, and it's a little bit daunting because of how simple it is, in fact, because you open up the bag of chains and it's literally a bag of chains, and but you got to just lay it out, and if you think it through, and there's little pictograms on the back of the bag and shows you how to do it, and if you just follow the steps, it's really quite simple. But because it's so simple, sometimes it's like, what do we got to do? Like, where do we start? Like, this is just a bag of chains, right?
So what you're saying is the heavy bag chains will not work.
No. Well, they might, but remember too, because you're driving on them, right? So they got to be tight, and so in order to be tight, they need to be custom, and yeah.
But no, so again, Justin, I really liked it because again, just selfishly, I'm going next weekend, so I'm going to be more prepared. Not just having the skis in the truck, but just the extra stuff. And the clothing is a huge one because even even if you come up upon an accident, I know we're talking about CP operations, but just in general, just having the stuff until help comes, keep your client, your VIP warm and comfortable, and obviously don't jeopardize your safety. But if you can somehow a quick problem solve while emergency's coming, or while you can get him safe, warm, like you said, maybe in a coffee shop, or what, if that's not possible, at least in the running vehicle, and you can do something, do a part to help navigate the situation so you can move on, you know, that helps coming and you can still get out of there. Maybe we weren't the ones in the accident, but if we can do something where we happen to have the tools on hand, then we're taking charge of the situation almost as that, not really first responder, because our priority is our client, but you know what I mean? If we have all the tools in the toolbox and we can do something to navigate and get out of there sooner than later, I think that would go a long way too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just thinking outside the box of how many times have we come across, just driving White Mud or Anthony Henday at 4:30, 5 o'clock at night. It's packed and people are driving really, really not well, not smart,
Light,
right?
light,
Not smart. Yeah, I'm being,
yeah.
but that is enough to cause accident. And so yeah, we can go, this could be a long topic, but it was an excellent video, and I think you covered most everything, and we can certainly add to it, and perhaps I can create the toolbox for everyone and we can post that, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good if we could generate, a list that people have a good starting point from. And, because like I've got all my stuff and I've thought of creating a list before, but usually it's born out of, oh, maybe I should put that in there, right? And, part of when we're making these lists, we have to be realistic, and we have to, we don't want to carry a trailer with us with all the emergency equipment that we could possibly have. But there's definitely some stuff that, the must haves in there, and then maybe some should haves and some nice to haves, and then some custom ones, right? Based on the vehicle, based on the VIP, based on the operating environment. And then we got to factor in, the vehicle size. Is it going to accommodate all of this extra winter equipment plus luggage for a trip, plus skis and snowboards for a trip, and all of that? But yeah, it's definitely something that that we could probably look at. And I'm loving this topic because even just putting the presentation together, it was forced me to think about things that we just do sometimes, and we're not necessarily great at telling people about what we do, or what knowledge we have, like just that piece about the highways and chains, and whether or not you can get through it or not because of the equipment you have. Regardless of the conditions, you just have to have the equipment. And that's that piece of local knowledge that is gold, because there are many people that have winter environments and work in winter environments and might come to Canada and think, oh yeah, I know about winter because I'm from winter. And they might know all those things that we talked about, until they get to a highway they can't go on because they don't have the right tires, or they don't have the right
Right.
and now, and they might be good, they might be advancing it, and they realize it, but now they're trying to source, how do I get this stuff, so they're wasting time talking to RCMP, talking to, hey, how do I get through here? What equipment do I need? And then they got to go find the equipment, and then they got to learn the equipment. If you only have 2 days to do an advance, and you're spending an entire day figuring out how to drive down a highway legally and safely, then that's time you're not spending doing other things, right? And so the onus is on us, I think, in local areas, to be able to showcase that information, to be able to share it with people. And then when we travel to places, reach out to those people, so that we don't get lost in the rabbit hole of the internet, or we don't know what we don't know. And so that's just kind of the value of local knowledge and sharing it and collaboration, and that kind of thing.
Well, it's kind of goes back to what you talked about regarding the, in terms of the local asset network and, having, people boots on ground that kind of know the area and an example like the highways that are always being shut down right now because of the heavy snowfall and whatnot. Now that'd be part of our advance anyways, and knowing those common highways that get diverted and whatnot. But I think the point to that is, even as something as simple as the wildlife, like we can go on and on of all the different hazards, but that's we're talking winter driving. With snow comes out the big boys, right? And that's life and death. So there has to be even extra caution in terms of extra, like you talked about, extra drive time and you know, head on a swivel, and at nighttime driving, like just all the particulars of making it a safer trip, taking all those things into consideration. When would be the best time to actually maybe do the travel if you had the choice or the luxury of choosing light daytime versus nighttime driving and things like that. So that's where this is a really good topic. And justice again with Vancouver, like you have like Justin said, you had the Winter Olympics in 2010, so the ski hills and whatnot are very popular, as in Alberta, and again record snowfall. So keeping up with exactly what's happening on those roads to the mountains and coming back home is huge. So
Absolutely.
And from a marketing perspective, it is definitely something that individuals and businesses, should be looking at. Like, Derek, you talked about going skiing, you have that skill set, right? And we talked in the video about the importance of skiing at, a high level if we're going to ski with VIPs, but even that, like the winter experience and the winter knowledge that we have is something I think that individuals and businesses can use, to showcase themselves, right? We talk about a lot of things in close protection that we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid, or we're not going to do things like, take pictures with our clients, take pictures with VIPs, showcase the trips that we're doing. But when we're out doing things that enforce our capabilities, like the winter experience and winter safety, those are great opportunities to, educate and get exposure at the same time, right? We can educate people as to what's needed, what the winter conditions are like, and educate them on our professional development efforts, and as well showcase our capabilities a little bit, right? And there's a company in I want to say Montana, and he'll probably reach out to me and correct me if I'm wrong, but the gentleman's name is Simon Chen, and he's an amazing LinkedIn contributor. He runs a chauffeur company there that also does secure transportation and close protection. And I have loved some of his videos on what he does for his Sprinter vans and, the winter tires. And he gets out with his staff in an empty parking lot and does a bunch of winter training where they do, skid avoidance and things like that. And he tested it with the different tires and excuse me. But, the point is he's out there doing training. He's showcasing that he is doing training, which is not something that a lot of companies don't do. He's showcasing it in the winter. So he's showing, the capabilities and concerns surrounding the winter, and he's getting great exposure in a really positive way that is beneficial to people, provides value, while at the same time is good for his business. And heck, look at it. I think I saw his post like a year or two ago, and with the Sprinter vans he had, and I'm still remembering it, and we're talking about it right now. And so when people are out skiing, snowboarding, as long as it's not too daunting or weird, then it's probably a good thing to consider for getting exposure, and even going the next level of using it as an actual focused way to get marketing. When I started to put the local asset network together and look for ways of doing businesses or helping businesses, one of the things we were looking at was, we have these pre-COVID, we would have a lot of VIP trips come to town, right? And there's a significant amount of travel that comes from the Asian community, and we get Asian tourism to Jasper and Banff all the time, and they have some experience with winter there, but like I talked about in the video, winter here is not necessarily winter there. And so I think it would be great opportunity for a resort, a hotel, or even a close protection professional to look at how, when tourism picks back up again, how to support that by being a tour guide slash safety coordinator slash, if you think of you have a bus full of tourists that are staying in Edmonton or Calgary and traveling out to the mountains, or staying in Vancouver and traveling to Whistler, and they're traveling there, and the tour guide knows nice stuff. They know scenery, and they know what equipment. A lot of these companies will sort people out with jackets and skis and things like that, and they might have their own safety from their own experience. But if you flip that and you put it at a close protection professional that can learn those things, or that can accompany and be a security and safety advisor, then the experience potential of that tour group is going to be exponential, and the organization and the companies setting it up have another level or another layer of capability that they can add. Like, if you're advertising that we do tours from Vancouver to Whistler, great. But if you advertise that we're doing tours from Vancouver to Whistler, and we're going to treat you the same as any other VIP that comes through, that we're going to attach a professional that has experience with ultra high net worth clients, and we're going to treat you the same, then that's a marketing element that very few people, I think, are taking advantage of. But I have seen it in other industries where close protection professionals are doing adventure travel, ultra high net worth experience, and things like that. And that's because the close protection professionals went beyond, protection, and took the service element to it. And businesses, the smart businesses and the smart owners, are capitalizing on it. So
Justice, the wink wink emojis are just flying your way right now.
They're going.
No, but brilliant, Justin. And again, it really is about, again, not from a selfish standpoint, but really at the end of the day, we all want to earn and make money and have steady jobs, steady income. One thing I absolutely loved about that close protection conference we all just went on, they all, a lot of the people that have been in the industry for a long time from all over the world that we met and networked with, they're all doing it, right? They're all navigating with their own specialties or their own products, if you will, or their, what they have found to work for them and have gained such success. And you're right. Again, we keep talking about our Canadian market, but my God, we do have phenomenal arts and entertainment industry throughout Canada in all the major cities, right? Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto. And yeah, not a lot is being promoted unless that VIP knows exactly what they're going for, when they're going, and when they're going to get back home. And then it's just a quick perhaps in and out. But it's something that I'm definitely going to look at because from the standpoint of perhaps increasing more business, but more so, we have an industry that is untapped. And people know that, okay, if I'm going to go ski, I'm going to go to a mountain, but nothing really compares to our mountains, right? They're phenomenal. And that's just one avenue of it. And of course, we're not travel and tourism, but in a way we are, because we're accommodating and serving trying to best serve our clients with an exceptional and safe experience. And if they do that, they're going to talk to their friends and colleagues and refer. And I guess that's part of the magic formula, right? So that's what we're talking about here, and providing an excellent service with the knowledge based on what our environment holds in store for them, right? So
Yeah, and we're the professionals, right? So we're the ones that should be thinking about all of that. People going on trips, they are not, everybody's thinking about safety to some extent, but they only have so much time to prepare. And, you don't know what you don't know. So we should know more than the average general public, than the average VIP. And the onus is on us to think about those things ahead of time, do the research, do the training, get some experience, and then look to apply it. And we definitely, just kind of like what we're doing here, we shouldn't be doing it in a silo. This kind of thing goes back to some of the discussions we've had in the past about marketing and networking, right? So we might have these great ideas, but they might not fit what the clients are looking for. So maybe it starts with opening up relationships with the resorts and the hotels, and just making an introduction, and not trying to sell, but trying to hear, right? What are your challenges? And then you're going to get another layer. You're going to see and hear what they're experiencing, and then be able to add that to the, I guess, influence or experiences that you have, or the inspiration that you had, and then potentially come up with a plan that you had no idea until you just started having conversations with people, right? You don't need to drop off flyers or do anything that turns people off, or like the postcards that I used at the conference. But
They were nice. They were nice.
that kind of stuff. And so when you start doing that collaboratively, the inspiration is going to come out, and you're going to find some, I think, great solutions. And at the end of the day, a lot of people shy away from sales and marketing and making money, but at the end of the day, that's what makes the world go round. That's how we exist. But if we can do it ethically and in a way that solves people's problems,
Yes.
that is the benefit of the world we live in, right? I mean, if you look at the back of the invention of the tire, I don't think anybody would question the intentions behind the person that invented the tire. And look at everybody now has a tire, right? 5 of them. And so we shouldn't be afraid of capitalism, I guess, but we just have to do it the right way and for the right things. And winter is a good way to do that, right? So all of us in our networks, maybe that's if we're looking for ways to expand our services, expand our reach, expand our way to provide value, then for some of us, we have winter 10 months of the year, and the rest of the time we have construction. So actually we have construction 12 months of the year now. That joke doesn't even work anymore, but maybe that's an area we should be pursuing. And I mean, think about all these hills, these resorts, they all have ski patrol, right? Ski patrol is based around skiing capability and medical capability. And what if they added close protection capability to the ski patrol? That's a huge force multiplier there. If any one of us were taking VIPs to a ski hill, ski resort, and didn't have the capability of high level downhill skiing on our team or within our network, one way or another, I'm reaching out to the ski patrol anyway to find out their processes, their procedures, their capabilities, what amount of equipment they have. They're going to be the local experts on medical for that hill. But maybe that's a way to, if they have enough people, to force multiply and include a ski patrol member following the VIP, right, with the team, or however, just some ideas to think about. And if you can create those relationships ahead of time, then you're able to learn the personalities, learn the capabilities, get beyond the superficial level of what so in an advance, right, you might have an hour at the most with a conversation with a ski patrol person, and it'd probably be the supervisor. You would have no probably depth to their team. You won't know their capabilities. But if you're making regular trips out there and you're networking, then you'll have a better idea on a regular basis what their capabilities are, or who's more ego and who's more capable, right? And my experience, all the ski patrol folks I've met and worked with. They're fantastic skiers, but I haven't been around when they've, tested their medical, other than seeing them on the sled and, taking people
Sure.
down down the bottom of the hill for treatment and stuff. So, but if that's something within your community, within your network, then that's a good place, if it's local, to start networking and making relationships. And maybe, this weekend they're a volunteer ski patrol member, or a paid ski patrol member. And then the next weekend, when your VIP comes to town, you've worked with them and trained with them, they're not a volunteer ski patrol member. They're a hired employee that is got ski patrol capabilities, and that's close protection trained. That's part of the entourage and part of the team. And just taking it one step further.
Well, I will come back with some contact names next weekend. So
Yeah.
I will already have a source to communicate with when the need arises for arrival and departure. So that'll be great.
And even thinking about that, if people are looking for ways to enhance their skill set for close protection, and they have a local ski hill with a local ski patrol, what a great way to add to your resume and gain some skills for close protection, right? If you can volunteer on the weekend as a ski patrol. I know in our community, some of the ski hills here, they have those rescue teams. You're volunteering, you're helping out, and some of it's even paid. I think you get paid for it. It's probably not much, but think of adding that to your resume, and why not go get a bunch of training and experience under another flag? If you are a high level skier and you're in close protection, and you've got close protection hills, or not close protection hills, ski hills,
Local hills, yeah.
nearby.
Rabbit Hill, Snow
Yeah.
Valley.
Yeah, those ones, right? Then, hey, even if you did it like once a month, you went out and said, hey, can I work here? You're going to get a ton of ski practice for free. And I know a lot of them are going to give you medical equipment for sure. And they do additional medical training. So, just thinking out loud here, we should all be looking at volunteering for our local ski hills if we have that capability. And I don't think I would have the skiing capability, but
That's a great idea, Justin. Again,
Thank
just
you.
thinking outside the box and how to, because if you do that, they might even supply the extra medical training. And that's how is that not, like we talked, I just did that Stop the Bleed, right? And many of us have done that. So it's just an example of what's the common injury is, besides probably breaks and stuff, possibly hitting trees, the concussions,
Yeah.
and all the things that can and do happen on a hill. Can you treat that right now with even your basic medical? Answer should be yes, but on a ski hill, there, like in your winter operations, there's the frostbite, there's the hypothermia, there's the dehydration. If they haven't eaten, no snacks in their backpack, all of this will contribute to how fast or they might be bleeding. It's all the extra stuff, but it's a great idea because it's opening my mind to even what more I can do, even just to provide for my own daughter, let alone if I ever have the opportunity or the privilege to work with a family in that capacity, right? So again, great ideas.
Well, and even just while you're talking, another thing I was thinking of is I've been on ski hills when when accidents happen, and yeah, the ski patrol is there. I think the biggest concern to the ski patrol is not hypothermia or frostbite or any of that. It's other skiers.
Yep, the
Because you're
snowboarders,
on
how
a
fast
hill
they're
and there's
coming.
like 100
Absolutely.
people coming
Yep.
down, and
Yep.
so now you need a bodyguard for the emergency situation, right? And
Yep.
that happens on the highway. You see that now with tow truck drivers. They're not doing a lot of tows on the highway by themselves. They'll send another truck out just to block traffic, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, so many great things are just coming out of this discussion and getting, ideas for inspiration. And a lot of people come to me with, how do I get into the close protection industry? What do I need to do? And I'll get resumes that are very limited. And so I expose them to volunteer opportunities, and some of it's in the security side of things, go to events and concerts, get that kind of experience. But I also send people to like St. John's Ambulance has the brigade, right? The volunteer brigade, and you get great experience dealing with casualties, right? Dealing with the people element, dealing with the injuries,
Mm.
and just thinking now with this discussion that that's another layer, is people that might be looking for adding to their resume should be going to, if they have the ski capability, and if they're a young person, then they have more time to build that ski capability if that's something they want to do.
I'm still young.
I know you are young at heart. We're all still young, right? But yeah, it's just another avenue to build to your resume, is get out there and look for volunteer opportunities based around the industry. Because like medical is one of the hardest ones to maintain when you get into close protection. And the higher up the medical level you go, the more regulated and the more checks and balances there are, and the more experience that you need. So it's hard when you're balancing a close protection career and let's say being an ambulance on the side. I know a lot of people that do that. They're part-time paramedics, full-time close protection, and when close protection goes down, they get more hours on the ambulance. But like, we're so short on time in our lives, so if we're out there skiing and being part of a ski patrol, the experience we're getting enhancing our skiing capabilities every time we're out there, the medical capabilities, the people capabilities when we're practicing with people, like it's just a great way, I think, to, if you have that skiing capability or want to get it better, to add something to your skill set and be very valuable, very useful. I mean, those ski patrol guys, they do some pretty cool stuff and pretty good work out on the hills. I know I feel much more confident being not a great skier, knowing they're there.
Well,
So,
if I can just add, I
please.
think in summary, and then I definitely want to hear from Justice, just in terms of you in Vancouver, and how are the roads with, like, I know it's lots of rain, but are you getting the cold where it's like freezing roads, lots of hills, right? Steep and whatnot. What's that like right now, Justice?
Right now, it's a little bit crazy on going to Whistler and everything like that. The roads are a little bit they're a little bit snowy, right? So, and there's always tire bans and tire restrictions on certain roads like the Coquihalla and stuff like that during this time of year, around from October, I believe, is when it normally starts. And so, I mean, with this weather right now, it's been a mix of raining and then turning into snow, and then rain and then snow, rain and snow. It's been like that for the last few weeks or so. And so right now the roads are pretty terrible. So
Try -30, and then the next day +7. Now it's going to go back up to -30. So we talk about icy roads and that. Just, but in summary, I guess this winter operations webinar or series that you did, Justice or Justin, I guess in summary, it comes back down to the environment we're faced with, having the preparedness and the mindset to deal with everything that can be thrown your way. Because the operation isn't just a ski hill. It could be something as simple as going to the Fairmonts, right? Going to Jasper Park Lodge, going to the Fairmont Lake Louise. I'll be going there in February, I believe, for a peace officer conference to volunteer at for CTSS. But going to those Fairmonts, it's just simply the exposure that we are going to be putting our clients, or sorry, what we could possibly face. We just have to be prepared with everything, and that's just getting the training in. If we have the luxury of knowing when we're going, making sure that that we are up to date with our own medical training, and again, not the common sense, but I guess the bare essentials of the tools in the toolbox we talked about. Again, if I'm going to Justice, if I'm going to Whistler, right, or if I'm going to go to any of the areas in BC, knowing what the road conditions are, knowing what apps to have on the phone, and just the readiness, the preparedness is huge. And again, if I have a client that wants to go to Whistler, you're the first person I'm going to call, Justice, right? To just
Mhm.
ask what, we can look on the weather app and Environment Canada, but you're the one on the ground, and you maybe have gone already with a client too. So you're the first person I'm going to ask about what tires do I need, what chains do I need, etc. And if we can post this information, because I'm a big believer in sharing. Um, we have nothing. I have nothing. We have nothing to hide. We want to help others. Uh, many people that we networked at the conference in Vegas, I still am talking about it. I still can't believe I was there, and I was so proud that we were there. But learning from them, Christian West was one of them, right? He said that he could have clients that want to do snowmobiling. So who snowmobiles, and who knows the closest repair places, and can you rent them? Do you have to buy them? Who has four of them in their garage, who lives in BC, who could rent them to us? Just all the different things that could come into play. The more local assets we have, even in our own backyard, let alone globally, we're all here to help each other out. And that's why I wish there'd be more people on this, and I hope this grows too, because I love every month when we are on. Um, I always look forward to what you post, Justin, and this one is excellent because we're going to be in this for the way it's going. It's going to be April. It's hopefully, hope not. I pray not, but it's definitely another handful of months, right? So who knows what could happen or what could come our way. So it's really open. Anyone that watches it is going to be, I think, better informed, better prepared, and I don't know if I don't think I have anything else to add, because we're kind of repeating ourselves, but it was very insightful, and definitely very user friendly. So excellent job. And yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have winter every year too, right? That's not going away. It's only gonna get more.
Really? Oh man.
It's coming back. It's gonna be done in March, April, or May, and it'll be back in September, October, and November. So
Brutal.
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Just. No,
I was go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe I'll just pass it to you, because I apologize. I've done a lot of talking, but it's just my mind's kind of racing as I prepare for my own trip, and I'm planning on going a handful of times this year, just because of the COVID and stuff. If the mountain's open, and if I'm just skiing away from everyone, and I don't go into the chalet, I have stuff in the backpack, or ski down to the vehicle. That's another thing too, is if COVID is still here, right? So, what could that look like? How could we still navigate a ski trip, for example, for uh, clients where we can't go into the lodge? Well, if we have the vehicle, if we have our SUV, maybe it's packed lunches. Maybe we bring, because I'm from Canada. We do this in Alberta. We bring our own little barbecue, and have hot dogs, wiener roast. If it's not an overly cold day, you have your cooler of drinks, you have your water bottles, you're prepared already there. So there's ways that we can even navigate this through. We haven't even talked about it yet, because I think we're all tired of talking about it. We're exhausted. Um, but even that, this conversation of winter operations. Well, what about winter operations with COVID still, right? And what does that look like? So the chalet versus, and of course the vaccinations and stuff, but what happens if they said, you know what, with Omicron and all that, no, can't eat inside, you can't have a pint, you can't have a coffee. So therefore, having stuff in the vehicle and preparing that at the hotel, or the local residence that they might be staying at, just preparing the stuff and knowing that knowledge firsthand, that could go a long way too. So just thinking outside the box, adding to it.
Well, and that's a huge thing to factor in, right? And not just from the protection side of things and being prepared, but also when we talked about the marketability, that's part of the winter experience. That's part of the Canada experience. So if we can make it look like it was planned and it's part of the experience, as opposed to, yeah, sorry, we can't go into the chalet, COVID. Hey, guess what? We can't go into the chalet because of COVID. But we've got a fire pit over here. We're going to do a wiener roast. We've got hot chocolate. welcome to Canada. This is what we do here, right? And if we put
Yeah.
a positive spin on those negative elements, then that goes a long way to mindset, that goes a long way to safety, and that goes a long way to, you know, career success and business success, right? You're
Awesome.
the close protection individual that takes a VIP on a trip and comes back pouting because the chalet's closed and, yeah, we got to figure this out, is not going to have as much career longevity as the one that goes in with the mindset of every challenge is an opportunity to showcase value. And if you spin it with a positive attitude, and make it part of the winter experience in that situation, you know, everybody's going to come away happier and safer. And it's just all good stuff, right? So
Awesome.
I'm always spinning towards marketing, but if we're not doing great stuff, or we're doing great stuff and nobody knows about it, then what's the point of it, right? And so we just got to find that balance. And so I don't know, Justice, you want anything to add? I got a couple more things, but I think I can save them for the summary here if you've got some stuff you want to throw in.
No, that piece about marketing is it always gets my brain turning too, man, because when thinking about winter operations and stuff like that, I think about the people too, and just like the personnel and that sort of thing. And like, how do I build a super team around people that could go wherever they need to go, right? So like, you know, I've not had a client that went from winter conditions over to, you know, hot conditions or something like that. But so it's usually very a lot more streamlined to try and pick the right people for an operation. But you know, for me in this kind of, you know, living here, thank goodness I have a bunch of friends on the mountain, and you know, if any of them are available, then it's ready to go. Or if, you know, we're in Edmonton area, then Derek is ready to go or something like that. So then it ends up working really well.
It's nice hearing this from your perspective as the you know, owner, as the owner and operator of Cornerstone, and me being more so, you know, the motivated say operator, right? It's just nice to hear your perspective of how you see this, and how I can navigate to assist if needed or called upon, but more so from my own business standpoint too, is how I can, like Justin's trying to, you know, encourage us to, how can I just take the reins on this, which I'm not going to bed. Yeah, this whole local asset network and all the things we're trying to do is very motivational and inspirational. And I think I think you summed it up already best, Justin, when you said, if we have all these ideas and thoughts, but we don't act on them, if we're not sharing it, if we're not getting the information out, then it's kind of a waste of time, because there's no clients that are going to be hiring us to do this stuff because we haven't even put it out there. And I believe that this one particularly is invaluable because we're still in winter for a good handful of months, the way the weather system has been so far. So I think we need to put this out there for everyone, and I hope that people will share this, and the ones that do come back on and watch it, they can see the potential to even share with their clients and their VIPs, the families, to perhaps, you know, if they can't travel to the different, you know, hotspots, if you will, the different destinations, maybe this year this is what they do, and we're ready to already help them and assist them, and we would love to do that, right? Have that opportunity. So, but back to you, Justin. I've talked too much of this one, so.
Don't apologize. That's fantastic. This is about everybody, so not just about me. Oh, I wish I had somebody handing me drinks.
So parched.
I ran out of coffee and water here, so but that's good. So no, I'm really excited the way this one went. You know, again, it's a topic that we're all very familiar with, but if we don't be deliberate sometimes about the things we're really familiar with, then we lose sight of what we know, and we lose sight of where we can help people, and those elements that we have that we do every day if we're able to isolate them, whatever they are, whether they be winter experience or hot climate experience, sports, activities, other specialties, medical, if we're able to highlight them, then we're able to put them in front of people and in the right way, then everybody benefits, right? The VIPs are much better by having us there, and the experience is that much better for everybody. So, but even just specifically, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, so I thought I'd be more deliberate and focus on it, is since we're talking about winter operations, it's a really good example of the benefits of experience and the benefits of training, right? Experience doesn't replace training. If you think of the amount of people in our communities that might have 10, 20, 30, 40 years driving on winter roads, and they still can't do it well, right? So just because you do something all the time doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it right. And same thing with training. If somebody goes to Mexico and takes a 5-day winter driving course, or does it online, they're going to have some great knowledge, potentially, if it was done by the right people, but it's not necessarily going to be as effective in Edmonton or Vancouver or Toronto in the middle of winter than people that have experience. So if we're able to combine those, the right training in the right environment and the right method, and then add layers of experience to that, that is the ideal solution, right? And then maybe sprinkle in some knowledge into both of those areas to enhance it, research-based or science-based research, or science-based knowledge, stuff like that. Then we're going to be that much more capable. And I think that mindset or that condition, that scenario can apply to anything that we do. Even if you look at like a close protection fundamentals course, right? You can get a ton of experience in close protection without ever actually going on a close protections course. But is it necessarily the right experience? Potentially. If you are in the right environment and mentored by the right people, you could probably get everything you need on the job and then supplement it afterwards with other stuff. But that's not always going to be the case. It's not always going to be the most efficient way of doing it. Your experiences are only going to be based on the individuals that you're exposed to. Same thing is, if you go into a 5-day or a 10-day or a 20-day close protection course, you're going to get a ton of really good training if it's done by the right organizations with the right instructors and the right resources, but it isn't a supplement for experience, right? So the two are symbiotic, I guess, right? And so when we look at anything we're adding to our repertoire, whether it be isolating our winter capabilities or adding in specialties or adding in fundamentals, if we can do like what all of us do on a regular basis, but putting it out there and being deliberate in this forum, get the training so that you can have more value out of the experience. And then when you have more value out of the experience and you have some experience, go back and get more training in the same topics or advanced topics or aligned topics, or skills, because that's, I would suggest, the real key to success is being realistic, being scalable, and it applies, to winter operations, right? We talked about snowmobiling. I think you need a snowmobiling course to be able to go out there on a snowmobile, but and then you go, but how many people really, especially in certain parts of the province, actually, have experience before they get it on the course?
Well, even like ATVs,
right?
like quads, I've been riding trikes and quads my whole life. I own one, and it's like mandatory for certain people of age. I think under 16, they mandatory. I've taken it. Everyone should, because if, depending on the angle of the hill, if you put your leg out, well, you're gonna break your leg and you're gonna roll. Like, just, and snowmobiling is the same. And you said it earlier, the simple things of, everyone just wants speed, but they don't see the barbed wire and just the common sense stuff. But it isn't common sense if they have never ridden one, or they have never been on it, and if they don't have my second home is a farm, right? My grandma's 97. She's 97 on the 19th, in fact, and she still lives on the farm, cuts her grass, still does a garden. My point is, just if they haven't again had that exposure, or experience, um, and hands-on experience, then they're going to experience the wipeout, the role, and they're not going to make the same mistake twice. But again, hand in hand, the training with the experience is invaluable. And again, it's the preparedness. I believe that this particular topic should be a clubhouse conversation, because so many people need to hear it. And I truly believe that this could be a viable option right now, like tomorrow. This could be a trip planning endeavor that people should pursue, and they should contact us. Sorry, that's bad, but
No, it's good. I thought I was the only one that always dropped in those little marketing tidbits.
no, but just
Best
it's
thing.
just such a great
Fantastic.
topic,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
and let's face it, just from the perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but 2 years of this, right? All of us, all over the world, including our ultra high net worth families, clients, everyone's sick of being at home. They're looking for something to do. Talk about mental health. This is all about mental health, and what can we do now to, I love how you termed it. It's not just winter CP operations. You termed it the winter experience, maybe within CP operations, but just it's, for me, it's exciting because it's something right up my alley. So from that selfish standpoint, I'm excited to get going. But I really see how this could benefit so many people on a higher level. And when we talk about layers like onions, right? Just layer after layer, there's so much depth to this conversation. Um, just invaluable. And again, I'm really enjoying it because it's thought provoking, and it's something that everyone and anyone can take action on immediately, to enjoy that winter experience. And makes me want to go. Money I don't have, but you know what? I'll go to Jasper Park Lodge for a couple days. Go snowshoe, go throw on my skates and go for a skate. All of that. And if as close, as CP operators, you know, thankfully I'm a winter boy, right? Play junior hockey, like all the stuff that they would do on ice or snow. It's exciting for me because I believe, have something to share, and something that they could experience and have a great time doing, and want to do it year in and year out, right? So, but that's all I'm going to say, because I think I've said it again. Passing it off to Justin one more time. Sorry, Justice, I haven't even let you talk today, man. I'm so sorry, buddy.
I didn't even get a word in edgewise.
All good, man. It's all
Sorry,
good.
brother.
Justice, give you the floor if you
No,
throw
no,
it.
Derek pretty much summed it all up. You know what I mean? It's we want to be those guys, the guys, right? So for this kind of stuff, if we can find our ways to be useful and get knowledge where we can, or kind of plug into the right kind of networks, get the experience and open the doors, then we could be helpful to way more people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to picking Derek's brain actually, and listening to some things he's got going on, because he's got a fire going off right now, which is, I kind of want to get some warmth. So,
Nice.
It is.
I love that.
It is winter, but
Yeah.
anytime, my friend, anytime, of course. Yeah, it was a good topic, Justin. Well done, and yeah, I look forward to sharing this, and I'll get on that. I'd like to I'd like to get that toolbox going and just share some ideas on that. It's already in your, it's already, in this presentation, but just some I can perhaps add to it, and I'm adding to it again for me because I'm about to launch too. So it's I believe that my trip is going to be safer, and I'm going to be more well equipped to we again talking about layers of clothing. So reminder of all the different things to bring, and ironically, for us, Justice, it's I think tonight again is supposed to be around that -38 with wind chill and stuff, and still snowing. But
Right.
by Monday they were talking about maybe +6. Like it's so ridiculous. But if that was on the mountain, well, no one's going to ski when it's -30. So then, is the pool open? Is the hot tub open? If not, oh my God, like what is there to do? Would they even come if those things were not in place? So there's so much more to this than just the hill or the snowmobile. It's just the layers, the activities. What could we create to, that maple syrup tastes good when it's rolled in the snow, right? But that's only one activity and it takes 5 minutes, right? So,
Yeah,
but
downtime is a scary thing in close protection, right? So, what are you doing? And you
yeah,
kind of mentioned something there too. We talked about winter in Vancouver is not the same as winter in Edmonton, and it's not the same as winter in Toronto, but winter at the base of the hill is not the same as on the mountain either, right?
right.
And yeah, so if the mountain is shut down, I mean, after certain temperatures, there's no skiing. And because of COVID, if there's other things that are happening, um, are we all going to be allowed into the hot tub, right? Is the hot tub down to 2 instead of 10, or 10 instead of 50, right?
Are they
Depending on
shut
the
down at
size.
all in the hotels, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then as a close protection professional, you can sit back and react and wait for the VIP to come up with, this is what we're going to do. Or you can have a bunch of options in your back pocket, like, yeah, the hill's closed or something like that. So we're going to go, we could do this, and this, depending on what's in the area, right? The hot tub's open, the pool's open, right? There's a, trip back to Calgary or whatever that we could do if there's no point being on the mountain. Why are we here?
Canmore, just all the different
Yeah.
local areas around. There's still the mountains, hiking. And another thing too, about people can look up an example, Marmot Basin or say Sunshine in Banff. You can look up the weather and say, okay, Marmot Basin is going to be minus 23. So it might be minus 21, 23 at the base of the hill, but at the top of the mountain, -6. Like it should be the other way around, right? It's definitely cold when you're going up the gondola and the wind's blowing in your face. When you get to the top, sometimes the sunshine breaks, through the clouds, and it's warmer like by a ton of degrees. So little things like that, knowing who to call or knowing what app to look on to have real time data, that could make or break a trip as well. So yeah, just again, yeah, I'm excited about this one. This is a good one. So, but summarize, Justin, to shut me up.
No, it's all good.
Respectfully.
I think this is one of those ones that just could keep going and going
Yep.
and going, but it's good because that's the whole point, is that it's not just my ideas. And I learned a lot from this one myself. I put essentially what I wanted with this whole program was I'll put my stuff out there, and so that we can have something focused and deliberate, but it's not all the answers, right? And then we can come to these meetings every month and crowdsource and use that as a starting point, because I know what I know, but I don't know what you know. And so
love that.
definitely don't be afraid to share, because this is all about making us better. And also, don't feel like you have to share either, because there's lots of times where it's sometimes just good to soak it all in. So this is all good. And again, I say this before every one of these. I'm like, oh, is anybody gonna like see value in these presentations? Are we gonna have enough to talk about for the entire time? And then I look at the clock and I'm like, holy cow, we've been talking for I don't even know how long on this topic, and this is even after having the presentation already, and we haven't really rehashed everything out of the presentation. We've highlighted a couple of things, but we've built off of it. And that's one of my things I always find when we do those clubhouses, is that they're fantastic. And it seems lately a lot of them, are going right down to the wire or a few minutes after, and because there's so much great information out there. So we just gotta keep going with it, and keep building off of it. And
I'd like to add to that, just the
yeah.
clubhouses I've been on lately, is it's almost like, I don't know if it was just because of coming, the three of us were at that conference, and it seems like the clubhouse topics are like the stars are aligning. We're all thinking, we're all like-minded right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just all the other speakers who I had the pleasure to meet, and I definitely can call colleagues, and hopefully, fast forward a couple of years, they're friends. Yeah, but that's what I've been noticing, and I know I'm not as nervous at the beginning, like you said, Justin. I just wanted to listen and be that profile at the very bottom. But now I'm maybe volunteering to be on stage the odd time if I have a good question or a question. But that's what I've noticed lately, is the topics seem to be almost like right in line with where you're going and kind of the direction I'm going, and I I believe, not speaking for Justice, but in some conversations I've had with him, it's almost like it's just things are happening for a reason. And I just want to continue to learn and grow and share as I learn and grow, if that makes sense. And that's kind of where um, I feel that that's what this community is about is don't hold it to ourselves, and let's work and let's hopefully get work. But if we can have some valid professional information to share that can benefit others. I have this motto is I always want to do my best to be my best and give my best to others. And I feel that what we're all doing right now is exactly that. And if Deepak Chopra is right about karma, karma always comes back, negative or positive, right? But we're creating a lot of positive right now. And I hope people come on this journey with us because we're just getting started, right? So.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, for Clubhouse, it's I agree. It always seems like everything is timely, and every topic. Sometimes I go in, within the title is I'm like, oh, what are we going to talk about? That I see the title, but where's this going to go? And it goes in an interesting place, and I always enjoy it. And I usually go in with the mindset is, okay, I've been talking way too much lately. I'm not going to say anything. And then they just start going down a topic. And I'm like, oh, I got to add something because I cannot leave this, conversation without people at least getting another perspective or something that, was mentioned. I'm like, we got to overemphasize that because the industry needs to hear that more. And so like in the last two I was on, like one day I was out shoveling and they're talking and I'm like, oh my goodness, my Wi-Fi isn't so great here out here in the driveway. So I'm clicking it off and I'm getting it and I'm like, oh, I gotta jump in, but like I gotta finish the snow, shoveling the snow because the wife's about to go out and I can't have her drive on it. It's gonna take me an extra hour to clear this. And so I jumped in and I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk about something we talked about 30 minutes ago because that's when I wanted to talk about it. And and I think that happened in the last two. I ended up multitasking and was unable to contribute at the right time. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I go towards those clubhouses is, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. And then usually it's like, okay, we got to reinforce this or I got to add to this because they're only getting, most of the folks in there are US based. So they're only getting the US perspective. And if we only get an isolated perspective, then we're not necessarily opening our minds to as much opportunity, discussion and inspiration as possible, right?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I usually don't want to say anything and then that changes because I can say a lot sometimes. So, but at least Chris is nice to me on those ones. He usually sends me a text telling me to it's time to sum up. So yeah, no, it's I like Clubhouse. That it's an interesting app. They've done a few things. A lot of what we're doing here has been inspiration from the Clubhouse. That's why I record this because I hate when I miss those Clubhouses. And so same thing for these, right? Is we can take inspiration from those kinds of things and look for other stuff to do too, right? So I don't think Clubhouse replaces what we're doing here, and I don't think what we're doing here replaces what Clubhouse is doing. It's just another layer, right? So
Yep.
very cool. We've had a very good discussion today, gents. It's kind of like exactly like the template that was started for this close
Yes.
protection development group, right?
So there we go. Now we can do templates on the topics such as this. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna don't know the term, but yeah, it's just everything's taken fruition, and it starts with taking action to get the information out. So I'll definitely do my part to do that. So
I will say I do feel bad too, though. Not bad, but like the folks that are watching, that are going to watch the recording, they're going to get a ton of great content. But there was also a good 10 minutes at the beginning of before I hit record that was off camera, so off record. So
that's a good
just
thing.
That's yeah. It's well, it's not a good thing that they missed it.
Yeah, I know,
But
it's a good conversation. Yeah.
it's a shout out to, you get a little bit extra by coming to the meeting as opposed to watching the
True.
videos. I know not everybody can make it. Everybody's got work and family and stuff to do, but there's a little bit of extra motivation to come for the meetings there. So
Can you remind everyone, just correct me if I'm wrong, but we always try to do this the first Saturday of the month, right?
So I aim for the second Saturday just because a lot of the first Saturdays have seemed to be long weekends. So I'm aiming for the second Saturday of the month, and unless there's a long weekend or a close protection conference, that was why the one we did in December was the first Saturday, because I wanted to do it before the close protection conference. Which we've all discussed it, and that was awesome. Like the conference experience, everything from the conference, all the work that those folks did, they did an outstanding job putting it all together. And I don't know how they do it, but every year they raise the bar, and I don't know how they're going to do that next year, but they'll find a way because there's such great people involved with it.
Can't wait to find out. I can't wait to find out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the plan moving forward. So maybe I should look at a date right now for the next one, and we can throw that in there. I have a few ideas for topics, but I haven't landed on anything specifically. So yeah, we're probably looking at February 12th. I don't know if is that a long weekend? The 14th is Valentine's Day, but that's not a stat, so I think we're probably okay. So
No, Family Day is the following weekend, so the 12th
Yeah.
would be perfect.
So let's aim for the 12th. It might be, I find when the second Saturday falls on a date like deep into the month, have to be a little bit more reminding of folks. But I can work on that. But yeah, let's aim for the 12th, I think. And that'll give me time to come up with the next topic in the next presentation. But by all means, folks are able to reach out to. I have essentially a list of about 50 different discussions, and just got to put the effort into being deliberate about the topics we want to talk about, and then go from there. So if there's anything that's current that is an issue that you want focused on, then feel free to send me an email or a text or what have you. But I think this one's gone on long enough, and we're now just kind of getting into admin and stuff like that. So for anybody that's watching or listening to the recording, hope you enjoyed it. For Derek and Justice for jumping on, I appreciate the conversation we had. It was fantastic. Well done, and looking forward to the next one. So
Thanks, Jesse.
end this right now, if I can find the button. There it is. Oh, that's the wrong one.
All right, Justice, stay in touch, bud. Okay.
Yeah, you bet. Call you this week.
Yeah.
So that's it. You got a glimpse into the Close Protection Development Group. This happens once a month, where once again, we'll create a pre-recorded topic on something that's important to the close protection industry, posted on the VIP Local Asset Network for individuals to view on their own time, and then usually on the second Saturday of the month, we get together at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time virtually and talk about the topic, and then any other general discussions afterwards. Now, something you wouldn't have seen in this meeting is we also, when the recording is not live, we have other discussions, usually before and after the meeting, on things that people don't want getting out there into the recorded world, and that in itself is super valuable. So before this meeting, we had a good healthy 10-minute discussion around some other things, and then immediately after the meeting was done, we talked about some other things. So not everything you're going to get to see by participating in the recording or watching the recording, but you'll get everything by participating in the group. And then something that I don't know if you picked up on right at the very end there was Derek and Justice connecting about communicating offline afterwards. And that's a really important point that I think we should showcase, is that while we're doing these meetings once a month, there's a significant amount of networking, professional development sharing, and operational connections happening outside of the platform, all towards helping each other succeed in the industry. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found value in it. I do hope you come and join the Close Protection Development Group if you feel like you have something to learn or have something to offer, or both. It's super easy to sign up. It's not very expensive at all. Anybody that's a professional level member of the VIP Local Asset Network can participate in the group, can watch all the videos. We've got all the recordings from the previous topics posted. The only thing that won't be there is the previous meetings. So we only record the meetings and post them for a month. After that, they come down, and then that way, if you say anything that you don't want to live on the internet in perpetuity, it's not there anymore. So just head to the VIP Local Asset Network. Go to www.viplocalasset.com. Sign up for a professional membership. It's relatively inexpensive, and go to the CP Dev Group page. You'll be able to see when the next meeting is happening. You'll be able to see all the past recordings of the topics that we've covered. There's been some great topics, and then we've had some really great discussions. If you're not in those discussions, you're missing out on career success and operational enhancement that could be benefiting you right now, could be benefiting your VIPs, benefiting your organizations. So highly recommend you check all of it out. And by all means, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me through the contact form at specvip.ca, or you can email me at contact@specvip.ca, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you on the platform. Be safe out there, folks, and keep developing.